This is going to be a case study of how I helped the brand I work with get to $1 million in 30 days. This was just before Black Friday, so if you stick till the end, I'm going to show you how this brand not only reached 1 million per month, but actually multiple millions after Black Friday per month, only 30 days later. So just to give you some context, this was a brand that was consistently selling around $500,000 per month every single month. This was the revenue of August, and I got hired in mid-September. When I got hired, the key objectives were the following. Number one, hit 1 million in October. Number two, hit 1.5 million in November. And number three, hit $2 million in December. All while the ROAS being at the very least 2x. So if you've ever done a Black Friday sale, you know that usually when it comes to Black Friday, you 2x your normal revenue. Why? Because Black Friday is just one of the best periods of time when it comes to e-commerce. And again, depending on the industry, you sometimes more or less do 2x of what you were already doing in a month. So just before we start, these were the results. I was hired around the 15th of September. So yeah, that means this was my first month, and we were able to grow that to 700K again, I was hired in the middle of the month. There was still some decent growth, but then what happened in October was, the beginning of what the case study is all about. So in October, we were able to hit 1 million in 31 days. And we basically hit 1 million per month for the first time in the year. Now, after that, this is where the madness begins. So November is usually a very good time for e-commerce brands because we have Black Friday. Now, this year, we only had 2 days of the BFCM period, Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday and Cyber Monday were part of December. So these were the results of November. In November, we made almost $3 million. We fell a little bit short, but from a brand that was making $500,000, going from $500,000 to 3 million in a matter of 60 days is actually a very significant growth. And at the time of this video, it's actually December 14th. So the number I'm about to show you right now it's a high number, but this should have been a lot higher, as this brand unfortunately sold out of inventory 7 days ago. So the number you're about to see, even though it's high, is not nearly what this number could have been if this brand was not sold out during this time. So let's go ahead and click here. 2.7 million in the first 14 days. And the only reason why this is not higher is because this brand is sold out. So in today's video, we're going to go over how exactly was this done. So the first thing we did was to consolidate the ad account. The ad account structure is one of the most important things and the first things I do when I get into a brand. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I need to ensure that we are aligning the brand for exponential growth. And the way you do that in 2025 is by consolidating the ad account so that you're maximizing machine learning. This way, every dollar you spent goes into learning instead of diversifying all the spend, which basically splits the learning in many campaigns. Now, if you're marketing to multiple countries, I encourage you to do one campaign per country. And this campaign should be under a CBO or Advantage Budget Plus. This way, you're positioning your ad account for scalability. The next thing we did was go and look at the ad account data and look for old winners. Now, this is one of the most important things I hear nobody talking about. But, throughout your journey of scaling your e-commerce brand, you're always turning on and off some ad creatives. Now, just because an ad creative was not working in a certain time period does not mean it will not work in different seasons or in different situations. So what we did is we made an audit on their ad account and we extracted all the ads that we thought had potential. And then we just let the algorithm decide which ones were good and which ones were bad. We tested multiple ads and then we optimized the ad account, basically turning off all the ones that were not good and leaving all the old winners that had a lot of data and were already scalable to work with the new ads. Maybe they turn it off for good reasons back then, but the season has changed, the environment has changed, the situation has changed. So yeah, I gave all the old winners a try again. The next thing I did, and this is by far the most important, is offers and high impact tests. Now, after testing multiple offers, this is what happened. We took this brand from 30 to 40K per day to immediately 24 hours later, almost 100K per day to even 145K per day in the next day. There's no way that you can do these sort of changes if you have a winning ad or if you have a winning format on the ad account. It is because we made high impact tests that this was possible. And in this case, we offered a free product for every purchase above a certain threshold. In that case was $100. So every order above $100 would get this free gift. Now, the free gift was not any gift. The free gift, we did it very strategically, and we offered something that was low cost, but very high perceived value. So that created a big gap between what we were paying to fulfill that order and what the value was that their customers were getting. That is probably the reason why this offer worked so well, and we went from 30 to 40K per day to 150K per day in a matter of hours. So if you're watching this, I really recommend you start testing. Instead of testing discounts and site-wide offers, I would rather just do a free gift that is a low cost but high perceived value and offer that for free for when people buy a high average order value. This way, you're incentivizing your customers to pay more every time they buy. And at the same time, it is not costing you as much as the value you're getting from that. And on the customer side, the customer is getting a lot more value per dollar spent. The only trade-off is they're spending a little bit more. And when every customer does that, or at least the majority of the customers do that, that's where the scaling begins. Now, for the offers, you need to make sure that you're creating offers based on the fundamentals of offers. So number one, urgency. Your offer cannot be available forever. It has to end. This way, you're giving the customer another reason to buy right now. Second, scarcity. If you can add scarcity to your offer, you're also giving a reason for them to buy now. Number three, you need to give an incentive for people to do something that you want them to do. So what do I mean by this? In this case, what we wanted was for the customers to pay a higher average order value. So what we did was create an offer that rewarded the customer, basically giving them a free gift, a free product, if they bought a certain amount. So what I recommend is for you to really think about your business, understand your unit economics, and see which offer or high impact tests you can make to maximize profitability using these fundamentals. So then after we've created a much more effective system, what we did was to create winning ads. Now, winning ads, in my opinion, are the ads that allow you to scale without seeing diminishing returns. To me, that is what a winning ad is. If because of that ad, you can scale and not see any diminishing returns, then that ad is a winner. It's either increasing your profitability or maintaining your profitability as you scale. So what we did is, because of the season, we created a lot of static ads with the offer that was our winning offer that we already knew that was working. And at the same time, we were also creating top of funnel viral ads that were getting more people to the site at a very efficient rate. And we didn't really overcomplicate the system. We just created a lot of ads with new formats about the same message that was already proven to work. So as we started getting some winning ads, that acted as the base to fuel the growth of the incremental lift which had just created with the offers. So the next part is scaling strategies. So we went from spending $16,000 per day to immediately from one day to the other, spending $24,000 per day to almost $40,000 the next day. So when we have an offer that is already proven to work and that you know that it is working, what we do is we scale 20% and then look at the data and we scale again. The amount of times you increase the budget depends on the size of the incremental lift you create with an offer or any high impact test or winning ad. In this case, we had created a very, very big incremental lift. So that meant that we could increase the budget a lot of times without seeing diminishing returns. And when you create an incremental lift, you don't ever know how big is it gonna be. So you always have to test increasing the budget, I would say almost every hour, to see how the algorithm reacts, how the customers react. If Facebook is just taking the budget and giving you more customers without any diminishing returns, just scale again. And yeah, we scaled so big that on Black Friday, we were already spending $128,000 in that day. And yeah, we hit over 600K that day at a 5x ROAS. So now we're going to talk about my favorite part of the video, which is the build and boost model. This is the model that I use to scale brands to not only 100K per month, but millions per month. And it works 100% of the time. I made this to make it easy to understand how to scale a brand in 2025. Now, the reason why it's called the build and boost model is because you first want to build the most effective system for your brand, and then you want to boost it. Now, usually the majority of people, to be honest, 100% of the people I work with started out when they came to me in the beginning, boosting their brand before building their brand. And by brand, I mean mostly their business. Abraham Lincoln famously said, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." And that is basically what I mean by building and then boosting. He would build the axe and make sure his system is the most efficient and the highest leverage, and then he will boost the system by chopping down the tree. The same thing applies to e-commerce. A lot of the people focus on chopping down the tree first, and then they focus on sharpening the axe, which makes absolutely no sense. So I made this model to make it crystal clear on what you need to focus to make sure that you're only focusing on the right things every single time. And that is how I usually scale brands exponentially. So let me begin by explaining this whole model. So as you can see, the arrows in the different categories have different width. Now, the arrow width represents the level of effort needed to generate the same result, basically to make more e-commerce revenue. So if you were to only focus on content, visuals, and formats, and by content, visual, and formats, I don't really mean ads. I mean the visuals and formats on ads, emails, website, landing pages, anywhere where there's content. If you were to only focus on the visuals and the formats, the color of the add to cart button, the ad format, the design of the email, all that, then you would have to put a lot of effort to get the same amount of results. And to be honest, I don't even know if you would get the results. So then we move to the next one, messaging. Messaging has a lot more leverage than content, visuals, and formats. If you were to only focus on messaging, you would still have to put some level of effort, but you would have a lot more leverage. And remember, leverage is the difference between what you put in and what you get out. The difference between the input and the output, what you put in and what you get out. So when you only focus on messaging, you do have more leverage, but you're still missing out on higher leverage activities. Now, let's go to value-based offers and business model. Value-based offers at the end of the day is part of the business model. The business model is basically the way you deliver, capture, and create value. If you change any of these three, then you're changing your business model. Now, value-based offers is one of my favorite because it is the one with the least amount of effort and one of the most amount of impact. And that's why when I was growing this brand, I put so much attention in creating and testing the perfect offer. Because once I found that winning offer, we could scale a lot more. Basically, it was just like sharpening the axe so that we can chop down the tree. Then business model has a lot more impact than value-based offers, but it also takes a little bit more effort. And again, value-based offers is part of the business model. Now, brand takes a lot of effort, but has the most amount of impact. I can guarantee that whatever brand you have right now, whatever's your business, if the most famous celebrity went in and created the same exact business as you with the exact same products, that person will beat you because they have brand. So what I do with all my clients is I start right over here, fixing the business model and the value-based offers. And then I would gradually go from one place to the other. When I found a better system, basically when I've created an incremental lift in that business, I would then continue to boost that business. More ads, better formats, fancy iterations, all that. It is very simple, yet very effective. And if you understand this part and you only focus your day-to-day activities on the things that have the most amount of impact and the most amount of leverage, then scaling your brand is inevitable. So this is very, very important. So leave me a comment asking any question you have about this or the case study so that I can explain, because this is what's going to take your brand to the next level. So if you have an e-commerce brand that you think has potential, has a good product, good ads, all that, but you just can't seem to find a way to scale to the next level, either it's 100K per month or 500K per month, a million per month, 2 million per month, whatever that next level is to you, I have two options for you. Number one, if you want to take your brand to 1 million per month, if that is the next level for you, I have a whole team that helps brands just like yours scale to multiple 7 figures, like the case study. I left my Calendly link so that you can schedule a call with me so that we can see if we're actually a good fit. And then option two, if you are a brand owner that is wanting to take your brand to 100K per month, I teach and train people on how to implement these things, because they do require some level of detail and nuance to be successful, on how to get to 100K per month without needing to hire anyone else, no agencies, no freelancers, just you, and avoiding having to rely on a marketing agency that's expensive and that actually doesn't work. So if that sounds like you and you think your brand is in a position to scale, I'm going to leave the same link so that you can schedule a call with me so that we can see if I can teach you and train you to get to 100K per month with your e-commerce brand. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time.